Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, or has it been forever? 'Cause dying don't agree with me, no.
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is a new game. We're going to be playing Tall Pines. Tall Pines was kickstarted, I think, just near the end of last year and is put out by Self-Critical Hits Games and was designed by Miles Gabbert out of Seattle. And I picked it up at Gen Con, I think, at Indie RPG. And so you can purchase it on Indie RPG. They might have it on Drive-Thru RPG. It's actually a card-based game, so there's not a print version. I believe you have to get the cards. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think there's just some like printable supplements. You might be able to purchase the print and play on the Self-Critical Hits Games website, though. But it is card-based, so our act will be set up with cards. So our players, myself, John Holt, with me.
Ken Breeze.
Kelsey Dion.
All right, welcome, Kelsey.
Oh, Kelsey, welcome back.
Hi.
Again, this is our first time playing Tall Pines. We actually will have a Tall Pines primer up on the website, so go to boardghost.com and check out our rules primer to learn how we generate stories playing the game of Tall Pines. We've already done some of the basic setup. We have our symbol cards dealt out. We have 6 of them out right now. We have our 6 character cards dealt out, and we have dealt 3 act cards to each player and a secret card to each player, and we have our random Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 close cards determined, and we can go into the next bit. So the first thing we'll do is create the victim and protagonist. To begin play, we're asked to read this aloud. A tragedy has befallen the sleepy mountain town of Tall Pines. One of its best and brightest, a young local with a promising future, has been killed, murdered horribly in the prime of their youth. Together, we will unravel the mystery of their death, discover what it means for our little town, and possibly even learn who done it. But we may learn more than we ever wanted to know. All right, so that's where we're at. We're going to start by building our character lists. And nobody owns any specific character. It's one of those like shared character pool games. Totally. So their name is TBD, but we will go around answering these questions to kind of fill out details about them. And once we've filled out our 6 questions,
we'll know them pretty well.
We'll have an idea of who they are and name them. And then we'll also name our protagonists too as we go. So we can, as we answer the questions, we can put a name to each protagonist on their own index card. I'll start with the soft-hearted deputy. Their question is, which of your cherished memories features the victim as a child? Do we have a feeling if this is a young woman or young man for our victim? What do you guys feel?
I kind of think young man.
That's what I was thinking too.
Great. This deputy was a Boy Scout leader. In his troop, he had a memory of teaching this kid knots and kind of having a special like one-on-one moment with him. Kind of stepped in as a father figure. He was a cut up and he sort of took him under his wing and helped him out. And I will name him Roth Mayers.
Roth. So my card that I'm drawing here, John, for our next character is our privileged athlete. Why do you think your relationship with the victim was just for show? I like the idea that they're supposed to be rivals, but that was just for show. The relationship was like that this privileged athlete was supposed to be the person who is going to be the most successful person in this class of young people. But the victim was the other person who was maybe going to be the most successful. Not necessarily an athlete, our victim, but more someone who was committed to the arts, musician, possibly a pianist, a essayist. Faux rivals with the privileged athlete.
Were they truly friends?
I think they had a secret regard for one another, but were not friends. Our privileged athlete's name, Parker Jeffries III.
I'm going to take the hardened criminal. The hardened criminal is actually our victim's aunt. What criminal endeavor did the victim rope you into? She came from the big city, and she came out here to get away from a bad crowd. Her crimes were probably like hard drug related. You know, she went straight for the bad stuff, and I think she came out to Tall Pines to get away from that. But Our victim was curious about maybe more lightweight drugs, maybe some weed, some things that are not so bad.
But this was the victim's recreational drug hookup was his aunt.
Yes, aunt formerly hard drugs.
Formerly has some hard drug connections, but uses said hard drug connections to get soft drugs.
Yes, the victim was pulling her back into that world she was trying to get away from. And what is her name going to be? Her name is Elizabeth. She goes by Liza, though.
Even killed people?
Maybe. I think that her behavior has resulted in people's death. Liza Wexler.
A cherished eccentric. What lets you know the victim saw things the way you do, at least a little? This cherished eccentric collects and repairs cuckoo clocks. Kind of a bird watcher, but specifically looking for birds that have fallen or like died in some way and collects them to like redress cuckoos.
Yeah, so
With-
to put taxidermied birds
Yeah.
inside of cuckoos.
Right. They had a run-in with our victim, and this person is not treated well or kindly by all the like younger people, especially. They were on a gathering thing, like out with a handful of birds, and some kids were being cruel, and they dropped, they had to drop their birds, and our victim helped him pick them up, went back, and it showed that there was a care and a carefulness to our victim, and sort of saw the value in like little lost things and repurposing things.
I love that.
How old is this person?
We'll say 50s. Simon Vance. That'll be our cherished eccentric.
Mr. Vance. All right, our next person is our thankless handyman. What did the victim do to show gratitude when you fixed their car? Okay, cool. So this thankless handyman is more like someone who just does yard work around town and mechanic work.
Odd jobs.
Odd jobs, exactly. When I fixed their car, show me gratitude, they wrote me a song.
Oh, yes.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yes, they wrote me a song. This thankless handyman, Mr. Coffin.
The local sheriff. So, okay, what outside influence do you suspect is somehow responsible for the murder? I think the local sheriff knows that the surrounding school districts have a lot of bullies. There are a lot of hazing type activities, especially amongst the athletes who are all sort of rivals against the more artistic minded kids. And our victim was definitely one of them. So I think that the local sheriff believes there was some sort of romantic feud or spat with a gang of popular kids from a nearby school district, and it got out of hand, and they somehow know what happened, or they pulled some prank that got overboard. Her name is going to be, and her first name is going to be Anessa.
Sheriff Felix, Anessa Felix.
Sheriff Felix.
We now need to name our victims. So what we know about them is that they're 18, they're dead. The local sheriff believes that bullies or hazers from a rival school from outside may have gone too far and done this. They wrote a song on a keyboard in sort of payment to the handyman for a job well done in repairing a car. Saw value and took time out of their day to gather up lost things and help someone in a little project. Tried to rope the aunt in as a drug supplier, like in his drug business or in some sort of drug deal, and was faux rivals with Parker Jeffries. Also, maybe lacking in a father figure and kind of sought substitutes or had moments of substitution. One moment in particular being at Boy Scout camp. So now we need a name for our victim. We have Wexler out there as an option, as like a possible surname.
Adam.
Good name.
Adam Wexler.
Yeah, that does sound good.
Okay. So now we each have 3 scene cards, and we've dealt out these Act 1 close cards that kind of you can read, and there's actually Act 2 and 3. You can kind of see where the act is going to be going. What's going to happen is every act, we're each going to set up one scene. We'll do one act close scene. Another player can place scene cards or symbol cards into your scenes. If you didn't start a scene but you want to have input in the scene, that's where spending cards comes in. I think we're all set, and everyone's got their act cards.
I have an idea for a first scene. A room at the motel. Lazy L Motel. And the prompt here When the maid saw what was in the room, she screamed. But to your eye, there's obviously a message here. This scene will have our local sheriff, our soft-hearted deputy, as well as our hardened criminal. Our hardened criminal, Liza, is the manager, manages the Lazy L motel. Maybe doesn't own it, but the manager. And in that way, keeps her eye on all the people who like come and go into town and stuff. It's easy for her to spot other hardened criminals because of her own past in the life. She's letting the deputy and the sheriff, Sheriff Felix and Deputy Mayers, into the room. The Lazy L is cottage style, so they're all like separate from each other, almost like little bungalows, small independent faux log cabins. There is a parking place though. As we're establishing, it's raining, the fall time. The focus character is going to be the sheriff, Sheriff Felix. The camera is sharpening on this asphalt parking lot. The yellow lines are very faded. It's very gray. It's really the morning, 10 a.m.-ish. It's gray, but it's bright out, and it's drizzling. And there's this mist all around the tall pines that surround this motel area. Kelsey, I'm the sheriff.
Don't mistake
You're the
it.
deputy.
I'll be the
Kelsey, you're
deputy. Where are you, deputy
You're
sheriff?
the deputy.
Oh, here you are.
Deputy. John, you're the hardened criminal.
Okay, Liza.
We're outside of the door to the bungalow. The maid, old Miss White, she fled. We don't know what's in here, but there's something bad. All she told Liza was that to call the cops, and then she ran off.
And Liza didn't go look at it.
No, she hasn't seen it yet.
So Liza is lighting a cigarette and takes a drag, puts away her lighter, pulls out the keys from her belt, and is wagging her cigarette as she says, maid was third one I've gone through in the past month. This motor lodge is a mess, but, stuff drifts in here, you know?
Yeah, I can only imagine what you've had to clean up, what's been left behind. But, I mean, we got other stuff to do. What's the problem here?
I don't know. She freaked out. I said to call you guys. You got here before I expected you, or else I would have gone and checked it out myself. But
You got any of that
as
coffee on?
they walk down the way.
Yeah.
Let's just get this over with, all right?
Oh, she
It's not-
seemed
not
pretty
good.
shook up, so
I don't think people like seeing the police around here.
it's probably not a good look for you. I get it.
We don't want to be chasing away any of your customers, but
We reach a door and she starts flicking through the keys.
Gonna glance at the sheriff and kind of shrug. I can't be anything too bad, right?
well, it doesn't look like there's any forced entry.
No blood. At least not out
She just
here.
opened the door and closed the door and left, huh?
I mean, they lock on their own, so she shut it behind her, that's for sure. And she puts in this
Click.
key and after you.
The scent that we catch is pretty pungent. Does smell like death in there.
It does smell like dead animal because
And it's super dark in there. Like all the curtains have been drawn, none of the lights are on. We take out or at least the sheriff takes out her mag light and click, sort of turns it on as this powerful sort of beam flashes in and looking around with the lights.
That's when Liza just walks over and flicks the switch on the wall and turns the lights on in the room.
revealing.
Revealing.
Revealing I think the reason that we use the dead animal card is because somebody has strung up and has been gutting a deer. And there is a drawn and quartered deer hanging over the bed, and its entrails are dangling down
Yeah.
onto the spread in this growing, big, ghastly pool of blood, and this creature has been flayed.
The entrails are arranged around the body of a young man. The young man seems to be wearing the skin of the flayed deer. The antlers are arrayed on the young man's head, and it looks like he has been eviscerated as well. And we see that we recognize this young man as the well-known pianist and bright star in town.
That's Adam. Oh, and the cigarette just falls to the floor. Oh no. Oh, and Liza turns away, her hard exterior cracking.
Roth is trying not to throw up, but puts a shaking hand on Liza's shoulder and says, I'm so sorry. He's kind of starting to lose his composure a little bit.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. Oh,
God, what the?
back up. Call the rest of the department. Sorry, Liza, but there are going to be more of us around here now.
We're gonna have to take you out of here right now. And so,
Hand shaking as she starts to light another cigarette. She turns back and blinks back tears as she takes another drag and looks at the scene of her nephew on the bed.
Realizing the family connection, Sheriff Felix puts her arm around Liza's shoulder, trying to guide her away, saying, "Come on, let's get you out of here."
Yeah, she knocks the hand away and goes, I need to see this. I need to remember this so I can pay it on to whoever did this.
Don't you talk like that now.
listen, this is a crime scene, Liza. You're not. I know this is really hard, but we can't have you messing things up, or we won't be able to turn this into any kind of case.
Roth, get her out of here. Get her a cup
Come
of
on.
coffee.
I'm gonna grab you by the sword and say you'll get your chance. You'll get your chance to get justice from this. I'm telling you, we're gonna get justice. Take you out, and he clicks the walkie-talkie on and reads the code. We're gonna need a 10-9. Come back. Yeah, I said 10-9. That's right. Come back.
Good
That
place to end the scene.
All right. So at first, we look at the characters.
Oh, yes.
And we see if any flipped. So let's start with the soft-hearted deputy. If your emotional reaction jeopardized the case in the last scene, flip this card over. Do we think that?
Oh, actually, I don't think it did.
No, you
Yes,
really
they
need
did
to play up
okay.
that emotion a little bit more. You need to start crying and throwing
So-
up.
Start throwing up.
Hardened criminal. If you work to clear your name in the last scene, flip this card over.
Not really. You, in fact, incriminated yourself more, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah, maybe.
Local sheriff. If you sought details about the murder in the last scene, flip this card over.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
I think,
You were the most
Yeah.
resolved person on the
Okay.
scene.
Yeah.
So that leaves shame in play.
Ooh.
Ooh, if only I had that triple
If
shame.
only a triple shame.
And also resolve.
Oh, I do have 2 shame and resolve.
Your secret scene triggers if you're so
If
inclined.
if
Oh,
you
it
want
does.
to trigger it.
The question is, which of the victim's past lovers is the most scandalous?
Ooh.
And how do they react when you confront them? So the protagonist that I want is Parker.
Okay.
Because the little rivalry between Parker and Adam was masking unwanted emotions.
Mhm.
Parker is Adam's most scandalous past and only lover. They
That's it.
try to keep it hidden and try to pretend it's not real, but started with anger and aggression as they didn't understand their teenager emotions. And then they had an encounter once when they were running. They were both, well, Parker was a real athlete, and I think that Adam would have maybe done some lightweight, like cross country, as a way of being around Parker sometimes.
Maybe Parker twisted his ankle once while doing a
Ooh.
run.
Yes. Can I have Adam before he's dead be in it since this is a
Mhm.
flashback?
Yep.
So I think the confronter is going to be the Boy Scout chief, played
Ooh.
by Ken.
The soft-hearted deputy.
Was also out in the woodlands around Tall Pines doing Boy Scout chiefy stuff. Parker has twisted his ankle, so the camera kind of clears on this misty Pacific Northwestern looking mist path where you have meadows on either side of a trodden dirt trail, and you have tall pine trees lining the sides of this path about 20 feet out from the lovely meadow. Parker is on his knees because he's just twisted his ankle and he might have even broken it, and you can see on his face that it's kind of racked with pain. Adam has hesitatingly sort of come over, trying to decide if he really wants to help, but feeling very conflicted about even getting anywhere near Parker because he's so confused about his feelings. Roth was
Bird watching, so maybe he's comes upon them.
exactly. So he sort of sees these 2 high school boys from afar, kind of as Adam is approaching, and he's also coming through the woods, and he's got all of his bird watching binoculars and overcoat and all that with him. So he's about maybe at the tree line right now. And Parker's looking up at Adam, and you can see that he's somewhat relieved for the help, but also a little bit taken aback.
Adam reaches down and says, "Hey, can you walk on it? Can you just want me to help you up?"
I'm fine. I don't know. It'll just give me a minute. I'll be able to get up. I don't think you should be here.
What are you talking about? Why shouldn't I be here?
I don't need your help. You can't pick me up anyway. I'm too heavy.
Come on, I can leverage you up.
Well, I mean, maybe just to get us back to the other guys. They're pretty far ahead now. They're gonna think we're just completely terrible at running.
Yeah, and Adam reaches his hand out and kind of grabs your forearm, grabs Jeff Parker's forearm, and starts to pull him to his feet. With Parker, of course, helping kind of push himself up with his good leg. But it's a lot of effort. Parker's a big dude.
He gets up to his feet finally, drapes an arm around Adam, and he's like, "Well, thanks, I guess. I mean, where are we gonna go now? I can't go forward. Guess."
I don't know.
Coming out of the woods is Deputy Mayers, and he sees these two guys as Parker is sort of steadying himself on Adam, takes note of how awkward they are around each other, and says, "Oh, ho there, gentlemen. Out for a stroll? Everything all right?"
Parker like whips his arm off Adam, and he's like, "Not, yeah. Well,
Whoa, hey!" And Adam, because Parker like almost collapses because he just can't support himself on his leg. Dude, come on, you're gonna hurt yourself. Hey, Roth.
Adam, out looking for birds?
No, we're running. It's
Oh, of course. Always good to get fresh air, as I always say.
yeah. What did you think we were? I don't.
It's none of my business what you boys are doing, but good to see you out on this gorgeous day. Are you all right? Looks like that's a mean twist.
Yeah. I think I probably got to see the doctor over it.
Well, we better get you out of here then. It's going to be getting dark soon.
Roth. Why don't we just take him to your cabin?
Sure. We could go to the cabin, put some ice on it. We could even have some cocoa there, if you guys would like. And we could give the doc a call.
Yeah, probably. I don't think I can walk that far, honestly.
Good call, Adam.
Yeah.
Cabin is a little closer than the cars. Haven't really been there for a little while. Not the season for it. But everything should be fine. And that cocoa, I promised it to you.
Thanks. Haven't had cocoa since I was younger, but
We'll get you a fixed ride up.
Adam, gonna come with, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I don't know. I mean, I know you know the deputy.
yeah. I mean, yeah. We'll get you. It's pretty close to the cabin. It's not too far.
You're in good hands with Adam. He got his scout badges for wrapping sprains, first aid,
Oh,
all that.
Adam blushes when first aid is mentioned.
maybe you can help me out for a doctor.
Well, we got to get you there first. Let's shake a leg, boys.
Parker kind of laughs and tries to like hobble forward on his bad leg with Adam's help.
Yeah.
He's leaning pretty heavy on Adam right now.
We go to this cabin. Goes from being like a sort of brighter midday to this like misty, heavy, dank evening. Myers opens the cabin door, enters, turns on the lights, and sees Jeffrey sitting there on the couch, like head in hand.
Yeah, like sobbing.
The cocoa mugs
Yeah,
are still like on
the cocoa mugs have come back out from.
They're still on the.
Yeah, it's like that's
and-
kind of a good way. Like he made 2 cocoa mugs, but only one has been drank from or whatever.
Yeah. So we're back in Myers' cabin.
Yeah.
Same day.
No.
This
we're
is
flashing
flash forward
forward.
to after the death.
And he told him. Building on what you guys did, I think that the deputy tries to gently break the news to Parker.
You're already at the cabin.
Yes.
I called you to meet there
Yes.
to tell you this. Maybe
Exactly.
you've already heard some rumors or whatever.
Yeah. Are we saying this is like a few days after the death?
No, like the evening.
The evening,
The
okay.
evening after, like same day.
Right.
Maybe
okay.
even a few hours afterwards, like very, very recently after it's discovered.
Right. Maybe you're slightly suspicious I had something to do with
Who
it.
knows exactly?
Oh,
Who
no.
knows exactly? So the deputy comes in and sees the cocoa. This has maybe been something that you guys have done before. The 3 of you have met here in the past before, maybe, or he has allowed the 2 of you to meet here.
Just hanging out.
Well, you have keys to get in and everything, so that's why you're like inside, and you made cocoa and you're comfortable here. Your head's in your hands, and I just sort of come over to you and put my hand on your shoulder. That's I think when I lose it and I start crying. And I say, he's gone. He's gone, Parker.
But who did this?
I don't know.
Why would somebody do that?
I don't know, but we're gonna find out who. We're gonna make sure that justice is done.
How can people do this kind of thing? we're just kids. We're not even that. We're not.
It's not even supposed to happen here. Not in this town.
I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Are
Is
you
it-
sure it was him?
I wish it wasn't. I wish it wasn't him, but it was.
We have
I'm so sorry.
What are we gonna do? We have to find out who did this.
We're gonna find out who did it. But I need your help. Is there anything weird you can remember from the past few days? Anything that he mentioned? Maybe about some sort of hunter or
Well,
hunting enthusiast?
I think the other kids at Georgetown, they saw Adam coming to the games and they saw him cheering for me, and I think they started to figure it out. And I don't know. They're assholes. They're not like our school. You know what they're like, like when they come here and they cause trouble. And
I remember Georgetown and the rivalry.
I think they started to kind of figure it out. And I don't know if they tried to do something to Adam to maybe get back at me in a way or something. Or
Okay.
we have the big game next week.
Okay.
We have the big game, and they know I'm playing in it. I'm point guard, and I don't know. Maybe they were trying to rattle me up, but they knew they could get to me through him.
Maybe. You just hang in there. We're gonna have to figure out the funeral, and his family's a mess. Just wanted to check in with you, son.
If it was them, I'm gonna kill them.
Hey, you let us do the work. We'll make sure we find whoever did this.
Can I stay here tonight?
You can stay here. Sure.
Thank you.
All right, I'll let your folks know.
Yeah. All right.
All right, here, I'll go refresh your cocoa. I think that's the scene.
And see.
And see.
So I think I have a scene ready.
All right.
This act. So this is going to be on the football field. The prompt is a cleansing rain. Visibility drops to almost nothing. The earth turns to flowing mud, but some things cannot be washed away. I think we're going to have Jeffries back in again. We'll have the sheriff in, and we're going to make a new guy. We're going to have Coach
The coach. Coach.
Coach Edgars. He's the coach of the football team. So the sheriff will be, I'll take on Anessa. Why don't you take on the sheriff again, and you can play Jeffries again? The rain is torrential. You can barely make out the words on the sign for the high school, Tall Pines High. And they're further obscured by the splashing of water from a passing police car that turns into the school and goes behind it. And we track it as it pulls up in front of what emerges from the rain as we get closer, a football pitch. And the light's dark. It seems to be hard to discern. The sun is up, but you can't see it. It's just a heavy, dark day. It could be at any time, really. It could be morning, very early. It could be afternoon. It's just hard to read with how rainy and gross it is. And the car door opens and the sheriff steps out, plastic lining her hat, and she unfurls an umbrella and with thick galosh, like plastic boots on, rubber boots on, stamps out towards the football pitch, where as she gets closer, we see that the Coach Edgars, is already running plays with the team, pushing them as they try. They're slipping in the mud. They're just running these drills in this heavy downfall. The sheriff comes up to the coach and,
Go on, Cobb 55 there. Tighten up.
Yes, sir.
aren't you pushing them a little hard?
It's good for them. Keep their minds occupied enough. This terribleness keeps my mind occupied too.
Gary, this is, you know that we can't have the game still.
We gotta have the game. Come on, it's the big rivalry. Everyone wants a piece of Georgetown now. This is not just for us. This is for Adam.
Have you noticed anything with the players? Has anybody gotten like any more pranks than normal as the big games coming up? Anything really?
Well, I mean, Parker's our star player, so he gets his fair share of it. I heard they've been
can we
putting
talk to
flaming
him?
poo on his porch. I even heard they try to put ants in his jockstrap.
And
Parker slams someone in the mud while you guys are talking.
Edgars blows a whistle and calls Parker over.
You see their breath in the air.
Yeah.
As they kind of break.
Jeffries,
Coach?
take 5.
Sir.
Mr. Jeffries, how you doing?
Hey, Sheriff, I'm trying to get ready for the game.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know if you've heard. I mean, look, rumors are going around. You heard about your classmate. What I'm looking for, was there anything with these Georgetown guys that you think is more than just the normal rivalry? You guys notice anything?
No, I mean, I think that they like bullying kids, and we don't stand for that here. That's not the way we are at this place, and I don't know. I think I think they like to put us in our place and try to shake us up, and
You don't retaliate.
I mean,
We retaliate on the field, says the coach, who's been listening from nearby.
yeah, we never, it was never anything too serious, but some new kids there, and I think they took it too far sometimes.
Come on, Sheriff. You can't really think this is a coincidence. Fact that Adam was found with carcass of antlers on him, and Georgetown, their mascot, the Fighting Stags.
It was them.
That's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. I mean, I know, you steal, rival mascots get stolen all the time. They stole Leafy, our deciduous tree, that one year. And it took a while to get it back, and they hadn't been watering it properly. But these things happen.
I never forgive the school board for changing it. Leafy.
I like trees. Trees are
Get back on the field.
Yes, coach. Listen, and before
Not enough. You asked them the questions you need to.
says it was them. It was them. I toilet papered their tree. I toilet papered their house once. Okay, I did. But this is more than that. They took it too far. And he runs back out.
As Parker jogs away, a little key falls out from his clothing that only the sheriff noticed.
It's on a chain.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
like
Something that he wore
Under
around
his
neck.
jersey, yeah.
under his jersey, exactly like dog tags, but like the chain broke or whatever, and it sort of like shakes out from his, the practice jersey he's wearing. And I mean, he's soaked, right? Like
Yeah,
a
and he's
greased
they've
monkey.
been taking hits and
He's
stuff.
taking
so it fell.
hits.
Mm-hmm. He kind of claps his hand and he's like, "Line up." Gets
Yeah.
ready.
Yeah, the sheriff, the coach, is sort of turned to the play, walks over and scoops up this key and looks at it and and she tucks it into her vest. She's wearing like leather gloves against the cold.
Totally. And it is. It looks very interesting, and it's very distinctive teeth, like an old-timey chest key.
She looks at this key and tucks it away in her vest. Just stands, the camera kind of pulls away. The players become more obscured, and the last thing you see is the sheriff before the rain obscures her and the sky. It all goes gray like a wash of rain, and that's the scene. Let's see. The privileged athlete. If you defended the town's good name in the last scene, flip this card over. And
For
I
sure.
think they definitely did. Yep. The local sheriff. If you exposed guilt in town in the last scene, flip this card over. I don't think they did.
No.
Okay.
No
So
secret scene.
no secret scenes.
The last scene here, their house on Euclid Avenue.
Oh.
So you can't get much closer because their parents don't really want you around. But who knows what you might see from this vantage. I think, again, the main player in this is probably going to be Parker. And then we have Liza Wexler is going to be in this scene.
Okay.
I think that will be Ken. I think Mr. Coffin,
Oh,
the
nice.
handyman, is
We haven't-
also going to be
we haven't
nearby,
seen
played by John.
Coffin.
So to set this scene, Parker is actually approaching a house. He's approaching on a bike because he doesn't have a car. First, you see Parker like pedaling really hard, and he's breathing hard and standing on the pedals, and the camera draws back a little bit, and you can see him racing down this very sort of wooded, semi-suburban road. And he obviously is quickly on his way somewhere. As the camera pulls away, you can see that he's drawing closer to this big house at the backside of this cul-de-sac. And he sort of wheels his bike around the edge of the cul-de-sac and then kicks a leg out and comes to a stop. He's far enough away that he's not immediately visible to the people that are standing on the porch of this big blue house. There's an awning, a white sort of porch that's open face with some chairs and some little dangling wind chimes. At the door is Mr. Coffin, and the person who just answered the door is Liza. And Parker sort of like tries to come up to a halt quickly and sort of sidle his way around the cul-de-sac to hear what's going on at this house because he's not usually very welcome there.
Hey, Liza.
I'm going to play this symbol card.
Ooh, there's a dog.
She has a big guard dog.
She's like holding it back right
Yes.
now. This dog like straining against her.
Yeah, she's a big guard dog.
Listen, the missus made this
Quiet,
this
Rex,
lasso
quiet.
roll or this casserole for you know
Well,
your nephew's folks here. Listen, you know we're sorry. That, you know, our condolences.
Coffin, you're real sweet. I do appreciate it. You know, this isn't the first time I've had someone close to me pass. But this boy, he didn't deserve it. What is this? I've seen people who deserve it. People who've done terrible things. They deserve it, but not this boy. Why? What? I came here to get away from this. Coffin, what does it mean? Why did this happen here?
Yeah, it's a real tragedy, Liza. Listen, how's his mom holding up?
They just gone dead inside. I mean, there's just something not right about it. I can't help but think I might have set him on a path that led him here. The boy was.
Yeah, I think
the dog goes nuts.
like
And
it drowns out our
Yeah.
conversation.
It's going nuts because Parker has actually ditched his bike and is trying to work his way now through the bushes around the backside because he knows Adam's room has a ground floor window. And so he's listening to this conversation and the dog detects him, but Mr. Coffin and Liza don't necessarily hear or see him as he's working his way around trying to get a hand up to look in that window.
The dog bark drowning out part of their conversation. But as the barking subsides, Liza's saying, and so I put him in contact with them, and I just feel so guilty about it. I don't know what happened, but I can't tell the police. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, and that's sort of the last thing you hear, Jeffries, as you kind of get around the side of the house. The card I played, the way it evokes is that there's again this. You're sort of obscured by the mist, this sort of quiet of the evening and the sort of rush of the falls that are in the distance from this neighborhood, like the rush of the river that runs behind the house here. And the mist swirls off over it, and you can see the window. There's a night light or something on inside the room. There's a figure behind you. Out of the mist steps another kid who kind of spits on the ground and says, Jeffries, what are you sneaking around here for?
Eugene, what are you sneaking around here for, man? Like, what? Scared the shit out of me, dude.
I'm smoking a blunt. Don't tell my folks, but got into Adam's stash. He doesn't need it anymore.
You went in his room.
My brother, I can go wherever the fuck I want.
God. Eugene, I should beat the shit out of you, but I don't have time right now. Oh, God. Did you know how to get this window open, man?
Try to force it open.
Well, how did you get that weed? How did you get in there?
I went in the room through the door, because it's my house.
You live here. Well, that's all right, kid. Well, let's see. How about, let's see if maybe you can tell me where you got that weed from?
He flicks it at you and laughs and says, fuck off, Jeffries. Once you go back to playing football, you don't need weed, right? You don't need a performance-enhancing drug.
I wouldn't call that performance-enhancing looking at you, dude, but need to calm down a little bit right now. I think you almost gave me a heart attack, dude, so... Listen, Adam's folks over there, you been hearing anything weird lately?
I don't know. You spend more time with Adam than I do.
Yeah, but they didn't really like me coming around that much, so I don't really know his folks too good.
Yeah, well, our stepdad is an asshole, and our mom is annoying. So same old, dude. Listen, you still haven't answered why you're sneaking around my house, but why don't we do this? And he goes and whistles through his fingers, and that's when the dog drags Mr. Coffin, Liza and Mr. Coffin holding onto this leash around the corner to the side of the house towards you.
Oh, I glare at Eugene. I'm like, hi, Mrs. Wexler. Hey, I just,
Parker Jeffries, what are you doing over there?
No, nothing. And he kind of like throws the blunt behind him and steps on it. And he's like, I just, I was coming by to see if Mr. Coffin or I could do anything to help out, around the house with things the way they are.
You looking for Adam? You know he's not here.
Yeah, no, I know.
Adam, what? Did he owe you something? You owe him something?
No, barely knew him.
Was he selling to you?
No, I get drug tests, ma'am. I'm on the sports teams.
How'd you know I was talking about drugs?
I didn't know that. I just thought, I don't know. He glanced at Eugene. He's like,
Liza like pounds over to him. The rain's coming down. She's getting soaked. You guys are protected by the awning, sort of, on the side of the house, but still getting soaked.
Yeah, the chain snaps on the dog.
Yeah.
And Mr. Coffin grabs at it and like is holding the dog back.
Yeah,
And it's
basically
like,
holding the dog
God
back.
damn, it kind of loops and ties like the leather end of it. So it's
And
refixes
Liza
the leash.
stalks over to Parker and grabs the front of his shirt, twisting it. And
She's
though
shorter
she's
than him.
shorter than him, sort of is like yanking on it.
And
So-
Eugene kind of gets behind to the side of her and is just smirking at you.
What kind of trouble did you get my Adam into? Are you the one? Are you the one who wanted those drugs?
no.
Are you the reason he wanted them?
What? How did you know anything about that?
And she blanches and she says, "Get out of here! Get out of here before I call the cops."
Yeah, fine. I'll see you later, Eugene. Parker steps away and his hand instinctively goes to his chest, and you see him turn pale and his hand scrambles around a little bit, grabs onto the collar of his shirt, steps away quickly after that moment. I think that might be the end of the scene for now.
All right. We'll go through characters, right? Privileged athlete. If your physical prowess was not enough in the last scene, flip this card over.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So that goes back to understanding. Hardened criminal. If you worked to clear your name in the last scene, flip this card over. I don't think she did, right?
A little bit. I think she tried to throw blame on Parker rather than herself.
Yeah, I think she's trying to unburden her conscience. I don't know if she's trying to clear her name per se. I think she was more revealing that her name is just as bad as everyone thinks it is.
Yeah, she's trying to say it was Parker's fault.
And then if you fix something in the last scene, flip this card over. I had him fix the leash, but that's your guys' call.
Oh, he did
Yeah,
fix
he did.
it.
He did.
He
He did.
fixed the leash.
That counts.
Okay. 3 understanding cards.
Hey, that
triggers
means
you.
my secret scene.
Oh, yeah.
So my secret scene happens before the act ends. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. You do it right now. And so you grab 3 of these symbols and incorporate them into a secret scene that answers that prompt.
Whose face does the killer wear when you meet them in your dreams? And why do you feel sorry for them? The protagonist in this secret scene is Mr. Simon Vance, our cherished eccentric. He will be speaking with Mr. Coffin and with deputy mayors. And we're meeting for morning coffee
Mm-hmm.
at my home. I don't have many people over. I'm sort of a hoarder. And so I have all the different cuckoo clocks that I've collected over the years in various states of repair.
Mhm.
Again, like straight up hoarder, like newspapers and magazines, different bric-a-brac from the town, from different festivals, and this weird living history of the town. My home probably is a family home, 2 stories, but my family doesn't live here anymore. I probably grew up here and never had a family of my own. Or if I did, they're gone. Well, you guys are in my breakfast hutch, and we're having coffee in the morning. It is before sunrise, the first thing that we all get together and do every day, or once a week at least.
Coffee club.
Coffee clutch. As we're hanging out in the morning, and I'm looking at the 2 of you, and I am explaining. It's the same. It's been the same dream for weeks now. And then it stopped the other night, the night that Adam was taken from us, was taken from the town. There's that dog that Liza Wexler keeps. It's in the dream. It's barking at me. It's warning me or mad at me. It's accusing me. I'm not sure, but it's barking at me, and I'm running from it, and I run into this abandoned train track, and I get onto the track, and there are vines all over it, and I'm running on the track, and I hear the dog barking behind me, following me, and then I see a dark tunnel ahead, a train tunnel, and I don't want to go in, but I do, because know at the end of the tunnel, this is what I'm going to want to find. But when I get to the end of the tunnel, I slip and I start falling, and then it's like I'm falling in a waterfall that's terminating down into this pool. And the pool is shaped like someone's face. It's shaped like the face of Sheriff Felix, and she looks so sad.
Sheriff Felix? Well, Sheriff Felix? I thought you said you were having a nightmare.
I get so scared after I would wake up from this dream. It's something about her face just gave me such dread, and I
Dread it. Do you think she's in danger?
She might be. She looked so sad. She might be.
Well, I know this thing with the kid really shook her up. I helped her jump her car, actually, the cop car. She left it running at the high school, and, man, she seemed real lost in thought. I don't know. It's real unnatural having a dream like that, and then the same day as that kid goes missing.
That's what I thought, too. It's just that the coincidence was too much. I've been having the dream every night for weeks. I've written about it. I've thought about it. And now it just stops. I don't know.
Listen, Vance, buddy, this whole thing's got us all shook up. But if anybody's gonna get to the bottom of this, it's Anessa. You know that. She's relentless.
That's why I'm so confused. I never had a thought about the sheriff, but a good one. And you know her, Roth. That's why I wanted to tell you about this, just so at least you could keep an eye out in case. I mean, she is an outsider. She only moved to town, a few years ago. She's really done us good by us. And
She's more than proven her worth.
it's true. It's true.
Yeah, if anybody, she's the one who knows how to solve cases like this. I mean, that's all she did in the city.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, is that some of that evil from the city has made its way out here to Tall Pines. Well, I just thought you should all know. All right. Secret scene. Whoever last cheered for a sport starts a new scene with this prompt.
Who last cheered for a
I
sport?
cheered for the Eagles on Sunday.
Then you're setting the prompt.
There you go.
The game was almost canceled, but there was no other way to arrange the schedule. And not playing tonight would mean a forfeit. So the athletes careen and crash, the cheerleaders whirl and flirt, and the crowd cheers. First half-heartedly, and then cathartically. As you stand amidst the crowd, include an act of unwarranted brutality. So the people in this scene, definitely going to be our privileged athlete, Parker Jeffries III. So have both the sheriff and the deputy at the game as well.
Keeping an eye on stuff.
Yep, keeping an eye on stuff.
And I definitely want to throw a card in there, too, as we're setting the scene.
All right.
Unwanted company. The last person you would want around in this situation just stopping by to make things more difficult. The head asshole from Georgetown is lurking underneath the bleachers right now.
Well, we're playing Georgetown right now, right?
Yep.
So they're lurking underneath the bleachers on our side. They're known as Razzie.
Razzie. He's got his Stag's jacket on.
Yeah, he's got a Stag's jacket on. The game is going on, and the first half has been going okay, not so well. We were getting real whooped on. Everyone's heart was really not in it. But as the first half was coming to a close, we really started to close the gap. We're still down, but the momentum returned back to us. The Leafies, as we're known. Tall pine leaves.
Beautiful symbol.
Yep, beautiful symbol. Tall pine leaves. As the second half is about to begin, there's been like the normal field show with the band playing, and there's been a tribute to Adam. It's at this point that this guy, Razzie, lets goats go. Like he's had brought in like this herd of dozen goats and like just lets them go. So they start running around the field and into the stands. And it's like this weird thing because he's given them cardboard antlers that look like the antlers that were on Adam when he was found dead. Weird antler callback thing. And with that, Parker just loses his cool. Basically goes to attack this guy, Razzie. Like starts yelling at him. tackles him as he's trying to sneak away out from the bleachers.
That's when the sheriff and his deputy descend and start pulling them apart.
And Parker is yelling, "I'm going to kill you! Hey,
Whoa,
fuck
whoa.
Georgetown!"
Hey, come on.
And that's when the two different teams start to mix it up as they're running onto the fields. And the two football teams are seeing this, and they're starting to crowd around this as well. And it's quickly turning into a larger fracas.
Roth tries to jump onto Parker's, pull Parker away, and he's like, "Come on!" He's saying, "We talked about this, and he's pulling him. He's like, "You gotta let us do it our way, kid."
He's like, "This is for Adam!" As he decks Razzie in the face. And the football players on both sides get riled up as they start pushing and shoving each other. Sheriff and the deputy, in this eye of the storm starting to spread. Now, townsfolk from both sides of the field are starting to come off the bleachers as well, grumbling and yelling at each other.
The exception, though, it's a mess. It's the field's still kind of muddy.
Yep.
The sheriff is trying to pull people off of
Yep.
other people. It's just it's a fracas. And the exception, though, is there's Adam Wexler's mother is up in the bleachers, head in hands, this tribute for her son,
Turning
descended
into this
violence.
violence.
She's just weeping into her hands. And the stepfather stands there with a lit cigarette and just takes another drag and takes in the scene, drops the cigarette on the ground and mashes it under his foot and starts walking down and away from the bleachers, and leaves the field.
Fists are flying.
Fists are flying.
On the field.
Noses are bloodied. Knuckles are cracked.
Coach is blowing his whistle fruitlessly.
The town is taking out its rage and pain on their rivals, Georgetown. Many of them very, very sure that Georgetown and their cronies had something to do with the death of Adam Wexler.
And Raz, while he's on the ground kind of getting the crap beat out of him, manages to knowingly kick Parker right in the bad ankle.
No, bad ankle.
He knows about that.
Right in the bad
And he
ankle.
says, "Your little boyfriend isn't here to fix it for you now, is he?"
Oh. And I think that's how Act 1 closes.
All right.
A huge brawl erupts
Bad brawl.
at the high school.
Okay.
The high school football game.
Normal.
We interrupt our story here, and we'll continue in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holt. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Joho and on Instagram at board_ghost. Ken, where can people find you?
You can find me, Ken Breeze, on Twitter and Instagram at Berlingsbeard, Berlings. I am a for-hire dungeon master in the New York City area and an independent content creator for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
Ooh, and I'm Kelsey Dion, and you can find me at the Arcane Library, which my website is thearcanelibrary.com. And I also write content for Dungeons & Dragons and do a couple fun things on the side, like playing games with Board Ghost.
All
Any
right.
products coming up that we should be excited about, Kelsey?
Ooh, some adventures, the Adventure Mixtape, in fact, launching soon. Ken, you might know something about that.
Just a little something.
A bunch of D&D adventures with a bunch of cool music to go with it.
Nice. And that should be out. This is just about Halloween time when this first episode
Should be out now.
So it
Yes,
should be out.
freshly
Cool.
out.
All right. So we'll have a link to that on the
Drive through
website.
RPG.
Yeah, we'll have a link to that on the website at boardghost.com. You can find out more about the players and engine in our story at boardghost.com. You can also reach out to us again on Twitter at boardghostworld. And you can follow us on iTunes, your preferred listening portal, and share the show. Also leave a review if you get a moment. That helps us go up in the rankings and makes it easier for people to find the show and find the games that we're playing. Our Patreon is patreon.com/boardghost. If you'd like to help in collaborating making the show, that would be fantastic. You can get access to episode halves early, you can get access to art, and you get access to some exclusive how to play videos on the Patreon. And we like to thank Pat Couple for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat Couples at patcouples.tumblr.com or at his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
'Cause Diane don't agree with me, no. 'Cause Diane don't agree with me. All